As we continue our conversation with Portland Police Chief Danielle Outlaw, we want to take up the topic of safety in the schools in light of what's happened across the country in several incidents, and most recently in Parkland, Florida. And Chief, when you think about safety in Portland schools, there is a partnership between the Bureau and Portland Public Schools. How does that work?
So we do have school resource officers assigned to the schools here, and we have a very specific commander that is assigned as a liaison to the Portland Public Schools. So we're in constant communication. And for us, it's important, and I say for us as a bureau, but it's important for us as parents. I'm a parent, my youngest is a junior in high school, and anytime something like this happens, you know, your nerves start to shake.
You put yourself in the position of those parents
because you're not there
where
if your kid is okay. And then the follow-up question to that is, okay, is my kid okay? What happens next, right? Especially now with technology, they have the ability to text. They can text you from somewhere, and again, you want to be able to talk to an adult. You want to get some very clear instructions and direction on what happens and where do I go get my kid. And that's part of the focus. It's not just making sure that they're safe, but it's making sure that we have a strong, comprehensive plan and clear direction between PPB and PPS, or Portland Public Schools, so everyone knows what to expect if, unfortunately, a critical incident does occur.
Those resource officers in the school are armed.
Yes.
There's been discussion of whether we should be arming our teachers, and I know the Portland Teachers Union and the Portland Police Union both have come out against that idea. Where do you stand on that thought?
I actually, and you know, usually I say I leave the politics to the politicians, but I do agree on that matter. It takes a lot of training to prepare for an active shooter situation. A lot of training, a lot of drilling. There's marksmanship involved. We carry guns. We qualify with our guns on a regular basis. And sometimes it's really best to, you know, allow those who are the subject matter experts deal with it.
Immigration, another issue which comes up in terms of, you know, finding, locating undocumented immigrants and the role of the Bureau in that process. Do you have a role at all?
No, we don't. Again, the Portland Police Bureau does not enforce federal immigration laws. We just don't.
So if an officer goes on a call and comes across an undocumented immigrant, what happens?
If we come across that person, we would treat them as if they were anyone else. We don't ask citizenship status. For our purposes, it's not relevant to what we do. If it's someone that's been victimized and they need services, we'll treat them as any other victim and provide services. If it's someone that we come into contact with and they happen to be a suspect that needs to be arrested, then that's what we'll do. But we do not ascertain, nor do we have a need to know what their citizenship status is.
I want to talk more about your background because I find it fascinating that you have wanted to do this since you were very young. You got involved in law enforcement in high school, almost sort of a training program?
It was. I started when I was 14, and I'll tell people that initially I never ever would have thought of going into law enforcement. I didn't grow up with law enforcement in my family, and it wasn't something that we looked up to. It wasn't that type of profession that we looked at with admiration, because I come from a place where the police came in your homes and took away someone that you cared about. So I had a different perception. And it wasn't until I had the opportunity to be on a 2-week career exploration program while I was in high school, and I had to pretty much go on ride-alongs and shadow different police officers during that 2-week period. And it wasn't until then that I learned that they were human beings. And I say that because I never looked at them or us through that lens. I saw a uniform, I saw bad guy, and that was it. And once I learned that they laughed at the same jokes, we liked a lot of the same food, we were from the same city, time, space, you know, I said, oh, okay, maybe this is something that I can do. So they encouraged me to become a police explorer. And once I learned I can wear this little uniform and have a radio and be out there and, you know, give back to the community in a different way, but learn more about the police department, it actually encouraged me to stay on and become a police cadet in undergraduate school. And when it was time for me to graduate from college, it was almost a natural progression to test and become a police officer, and I've been here ever since.
And that track still exists if somebody wanted to
Yes,
be
it
in that
does.
program, and something that you offer in Portland.
Yes, and I think it's a good way to recruit from our own community and from the neighborhoods, because you'll hear on one side people saying, you know what, we want people from our community to be our police officers because they know who we are. And then on the other hand, people aren't really lining up to be police officers anymore because they want to try different professions, or it's not really something that little girls are aspiring to be anymore. So when you get them early and create your own pipeline, it's that much easier to get a hold of them when they're younger and they're still part of the community as adult police officers.
Because of that fear you experienced as a child of the police officer, is there anything that you'll do here in Portland that will put more of a human side on who the officers are?
I think that's what it's about. So you hear us talk about community engagement, but it's not just get out and engage. I want us to include the community. I want people to see that we're mothers and sisters and siblings, and we share a lot of the same fear and anxieties as parents. You know, when we talk about school safety, we have to get up and get dressed and go to work like everybody else. I think when we begin to focus on commonalities first, the differences kind of fall to the backside. And we begin to see each other for who we are.
Well, and when you look at the chief in the future, you might think former Wheel of Fortune contestant. We do need to share this. This was back in your college days.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And she became a contestant on the game show. Let's take a look.
Hi, I'm Danielle Outlaw from the University of San Francisco.
And now,
And there you are, representing University of San Francisco. And how did we do, Chief, on Wheel of Fortune?
Oh my, I don't think I've seen that since it's aired. I didn't even know that your voice can change, but wow. So I did okay. I actually won the first, I don't want to say round, I won the way it works is that they filmed a whole week in one night.
Wow.
So you think that
pressure.
Monday
Yeah.
night happened on Monday night? No, we all had to stay. So I ended up winning the first game. And then I had to wait until about 1 o'clock in the morning to go back and film the championship round.
Oh, we saw you go bankrupt right there at the end.
Yes.
But then you went on to do better.
But then I went on and I won and went back to the championship round. I didn't win. I lost to someone. I think he was from Emory. Mm-hmm. But I tell people, you don't give a young college student that kind of money.
What did you do?
Time.
What was the first thing you bought?
I think I bought a lot of things that I couldn't fit my pinky toe in today. But it was a good time. It was a good time.
Well, thanks for sharing that memory with us. And I know that one of your commitments is to become involved in the community here,
Yes.
and you intend to do so by becoming a big sister to that organization.
You know, it wasn't my intent when I got here because there's a lot of things to be done and not a lot of spare time. But when I went to the gala, I was so inspired by not only the success stories, but, we often take for granted, because I have 2 sons. My boys are 19 and almost 17, and I spend a lot of my time with them. My oldest is away at college. But we take for granted that there are so many young people out there that if they just had, you're not there to replace
The role model.
a parent, but if you just have a role model, it might keep them from going down a path that they consider, because that's all they know and see. And so if they have an opportunity to be around positivity and something different, you just might change, the life of one young person, and that really inspired me, so I signed up.
Well, we thank you for that, and we thank you for sitting with us today. And I know you're adjusting to the rain. We also have to make you a Blazer fan instead of Golden State, from what I understand.
I don't know
and
about that.
Damian Lillard's been working on you, hasn't he?
Yeah, with no luck.
You met him.
With no luck.
Well, thanks so
He's
much.
a good friend.
So much for coming by, Chief. We appreciate it. Remember, Straight Talk airs twice a week on KGW, Saturday at 4:30, Sunday at 6:30, just after NBC Nightly News. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.